What's up, YouTube? Let's hope I have it on normal, not like slow-mo. We are here in South Africa together. So it's gonna be a lot more fun posting these now because it's not gonna be like little clips of us side by side on a poorly lit and volumized.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Like, it's gonna sound quality. We're here. We're here. We're popping. I am in Cape Town. We are gonna be here, so we're gonna be doing one of these. We're aiming to do one a day, but we're gonna at least have one a week. We'll just say that right now. So today's a tough one, and we are being really raw and vulnerable and open with you. It is called Into the Fire, and today we are going to talk about love addiction. I am a self-declared love addict. And so we are going to talk to you guys about the signs. How do you know you're recovered? How do you know you're ready for a relationship? When do you know? And signs that you're a love addict. So.
Yeah. Understanding, is it love or is it addiction?
Yes, yes. And understanding, is it love and addiction? And then if you do understand and are like, okay, this is definitely addiction, is it possible to reframe the relationship or addiction ship into a healthy relationship? I'm arguing, I think that, and I think you agree, yes, that it's definitely possible, but I guess like both people have to be aware. This is what we're doing that's unhealthy. This is where we need to change. These are things we need to work on. Behavior needs to stop, you know?
Yeah, so my dogs are just, stop it, guys.
It's fine.
I think the key is us. Sorry. Two people, stop it. If two people are actually committed to working a program, and it's an intensive program, I think, it's also about identifying your patterns, your patterns and your conditioning. And it's a hard thing to admit. They say with any kind of addiction, any kind of recovery, admitting it is the first step. I mean, that's step one, literally. We admitted we were powerless over our addiction, that our lives had become unmanageable. And I think the love addiction stuff is a scary place to go to because nobody wants to think of love as addictive. We've kind of pigeonholed addiction to like crack and heroin and alcohol.
Yeah.
But it is a very real thing, and I think it's something both of us have worked with, for sure. But yeah, maybe we should just get into some of the signs.
So we have signs that we've researched. We are not therapists.
No, we're not.
We are not. We do not work at a rehab where we facilitate this kind of training, but we have the ability to use the internet. And
we are recovering addicts who help other recovering addicts stay clean.
So, yeah.
So I think what's very important to look at, so I'm actually taking from a book called Is It Love or Is It Addiction by Brenda Schaefer.
It's really good. You should check it out.
Really good, guys. Really, really good. And I think the most important thing to identify is these signs. Okay, so the signs are obsession. Have you ever been a little bit unhealthily obsessed with someone? Like you literally just, your day revolves around thinking about that person. And not in a good way, like everything else takes a complete backseat. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The next one is fear of abandonment.
So let's give an example of that. They leave and you get anxious. You get anxious when they leave. Like for me, because I was with a heroin addict years ago, every time I'm on a date with a guy and he goes to the bathroom, my heart starts pounding. Like he's not coming back. He's not coming back. So that's my fear of abandonment trigger.
And then the next one, which I think is the most common, and I can really relate to this because it's happened to me in my past. I know it's happened to you, but it's an emotional roller coaster. So you literally experience, love is like a drug. It has the same chemical reaction in your body, but when it's the addictive kind, your highs and lows are so extreme. It's like using drugs. And when that person leaves, it's just this feeling. It's like this
Debilitating.
completely. When you're around them, it's euphoric. You feel high. So if anybody's ever said that to you, then watch out.
And when they go away, like for me, when I'm in it, when I'm in a healthy relationship, when they're gone, I proceed about my day. I don't know, like I'm like, cool, okay,
Yeah.
I'll see him next Thursday. Like, and then I'm working and I'm happy and fully functioning. But when it's an addiction, when he is gone, I can't even get the motivation. Like I feel depressed.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a state of depression. I can't get motivated. I like stare at my computer, but I can't really actually work. I know I should be doing things, but I just can't bring myself to actually do much. Like I'm still functioning.
Because the obsession is functioning in that as well. So it's just like you're nothing without this person. Like you just obsess over them, and then it becomes this.
Yeah.
You get depressed. It's
Rough.
It is
It's
rough.
rough.
And then the next one is jealousy and possessiveness.
So that must be, I mean, I'm sure that these vary. So these are signs.
They
'Cause
are
with
signs.
me, I don't really get,
Me neither.
yeah.
I've been with people who've been overly obsessive. I mean, jealous and
Yes.
possessive.
Yes.
And I think that really just stems from a place of, I think it comes from, I would say, low self-worth and also that abandonment. Like you're
Yeah.
possessive of because you don't want them to leave.
Yeah.
You feel like they're yours, you know?
Yeah, I know with my ex, who I'm sure had it as well. I can't diagnose him, but he would admit to me the moment that I left, the moment I walked out the house, he would think I was with another guy. Like his brain would just could not, needed to have me in front of him to feel secure. And that's a mind game that it comes from self-worth. And I found
Deep
out
insecurity.
yeah. And it took me a long time to pull it out of him, but for many reasons stemming from childhood, he did not value himself and he did not feel worthy, especially also because I was younger, right? And it's like, oh, the younger girl, like I got her, but she's gonna leave me for a younger guy, you know, like so that stems those issues. So if that's happening to you, I think it's so important, having been someone on the receiving end of that, to you can't prove to them. It's work they have to do. You can't, like, it doesn't matter how many things you do to prove I'm here, I'm loyal, I'm not going to abandon you, until they do the work and are secure in themselves and are like, I believe, I trust you. It doesn't matter. You can go to the end of the world. They are not going to trust you. They are going to
Because they don't, I think it also comes from that maybe they don't even trust themselves. Like our internal always mirrors our external.
Yeah.
And we're going to get into the childhood stuff soon because that's a big part of this.
Big whammy.
It's a big one. If you have not read or watched any of Dr. Gabor Mate's stuff, I highly recommend it. He specializes in addiction, and his whole thing is it comes from childhood trauma. Basically, all our issues come from childhood trauma.
And side note, really quickly, you don't have to have a childhood where you got beat or molested or some obviously dramatic thing happened. You literally can have childhood trauma from school friends, from your parent being just at work or moody, or your parents can be wonderful, amazing, beautiful, good people and still have passed on some sort of trauma to you. Unintentionally, obviously.
Yeah. So next sign is the neglect of self. So you got to really be real with yourself here. If you're watching this and you feel like, hey, this might be me, look at this. Do you self-sacrifice? Does the other person, do you put off your work, your goals, what you want, your dreams for the other person? Like you completely neglect who you are. Who you are kind of ceases to exist. Like you base your self-worth and your identity around someone else.
And your day becomes about helping them.
Yeah.
Lifting them up. making sure they're good, and you forget about your passions, your goals, all of it. Just kind of like, I know for me, when I was with my ex years ago at the worst of the cycle, gosh, it was like literally my day was like getting him a sandwich and like, what can I do for him? How can I be there for him? I like stopped doing music. I like, at one point I pushed myself to do music again, but it wasn't like I woke up every morning and was like, I want to write music. I'm going to focus on my things. It was all about him. It was everything I could do. And he didn't necessarily, well, he did kind of ask, but it was me. I was in that addiction, and I was willingly, happily like, let me put you and your needs above mine, because that at the moment felt good for me because I was tapping into that addiction, right? So like that was my high. I got high off of helping him.
Because it validated you. So this is another thing, you base your self-worth, and this is another point, but it's the loss of identity. And I had a sponsor once, and he was like, your bottom line is, do not base your self-worth off what another person says or does, or the lack thereof. Yes. And it was such a big one. So basically you come to a place where you understand that, like, who am I without this person? And you don't know. Your whole identity is built around somebody else. So you have a complete loss of identity. I think these two tie together very well, because you know, when I became single, I really had to do some deep digging and deep work of like, who's Kate? Like, who am I? Didn't know, and that was so scary. Another one is a difficulty of being alone. Which is that's normal for a lot of people. I think a lot of people, especially these days, especially with social media, we're so used to like always being on or always being entertained. You know, whether it's your phone or the TV's on or this or that, like, so I think that people do this with relationships, and not just love addicts, like everyone. They don't know, they haven't sat with themselves. And maybe if you sit with yourself, you're going to find some stuff that you're not so stoked on, that you need to work on. And you don't want to do that because that's not comfortable. So people don't want to be uncomfortable. So they'll just go from relationship to relationship, or situationship to situationship, to right to another one. They can't be alone, basically.
No.
So go sit in the steam room for 15 minutes a day. This is what we've been doing. If you cannot sit with your thoughts in a steam room, that's where the work lies. Just sit quiet.
And so when you get out the other end, oh my gosh, it's phenomenal.
Of the steam room.
Yes, the steam room, but also like when you learn to be by yourself. Gosh, I have the best time with myself. I love being alone.
Me too.
It's so nice.
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk, you know? And then what happens is you stop allowing people that don't reach the bar into your space, because you realize I'm actually good without anyone, so I'm not gonna let someone who's subpar at best come into my space just to like have someone there, because I'm already good. So unless you're adding to what's already good and what's already whole, what's already complete, which is me with myself and I, then why would I let you in?
Exactly.
Huge.
So another sign to look out for is the denial of problems. Are you denying, or is your person, and I do that because if it's addiction, it's not your person. You basically ignore and you minimize all the problems. You sweep them under that, you know, metaphorical carpet. And it's hard to look there. It is. It's hard to face ourselves. It's hard to look in the mirror. But just ask yourself, are you denying problems? Are you
minimizing? I think minimizing
harmful
is a
behavior
really good
as well.
way. Yeah, because especially as women, this is a thing that I think a lot of us girls do, you know? Whereas I saw a meme or a TikTok about it the other day where this girl was like, can you imagine if I did what guys do to me, how angry they would get. Like, society for some reason has made it a lot more difficult for us to stand up for ourselves, to say certain things, to not accept certain behaviors. Like, we're supposed to be submissive, we're supposed to be accepting, we're supposed to be loving, don't hurt his ego. And so it can be quite hard to find your voice right? And be able to be like, and especially as I think partly being a mom, like I'm not a mom, but being women that are built to be mothers, we are built to nurture. It's very difficult for us to be like, this is an unacceptable behavior and I'm not having it, because our instinct is to be like, let me nurture you through this. Let me try to understand why you feel like you need to be doing this and help you out the other side, because that's what I'm built to do. But
therein is the problem,
yes.
because he's not your child.
Exactly.
And also you got to look at I can't feel like we're going into the childhood trauma thing now anyway.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at your childhood.
Yeah.
And what, look, I'm a parent and I know that it's hard. So this is not like, it is hard. Like, I'm sure my kids are going to get to an age and be like, oh, I'm ruined because of my mom. No, they won't. I'm doing the work. But it's really hard to get it right. So we all have some wounding from our childhoods. It doesn't mean our parents were bad people. In some cases, yeah, I guess, they were. But it's a tough one. You've got to go back and you've got to look, what patterns am I carrying? What childhood patterns am I carrying? Like, I'll give an example of mine. And so my parents got divorced when I was 9, but they had a really amicable divorce. Like, my dad bought the house behind my mom's. Like, they were good we went on holidays together. It was weird. It was a really good situation. And I didn't feel that conflict, but I still, because I didn't heal 9-year-old Kate's thought that I wasn't enough to make my dad stay. That's what I carried with me. And it wasn't my dad's fault. It wasn't my mom's fault. But because I hadn't dealt with that trauma, and if you've got kids and you're going through a breakup, this is another thing, like, get them into therapy. Because my parents did the best that they could do. They did not fight around me, nothing like that. Like, they made sure that I felt safe. But I remember, and I only uncovered this like when I was 28 or 29, that I wasn't enough to make my dad stay. And I remember figuring it out in therapy one day, and I cried for 2 weeks. I kept phoning my therapist and I was like, why am I still crying about this? I'm fine. But I wasn't, because I had not healed that. So if you've got kids and you're going through a divorce, no matter how good it is, you don't know what your kid can. They have this thing where they feel like it's their fault because it is their family unit that's breaking up, and they feel like it's because of them. They carry that sense of unworthiness. And yeah, it's not your fault. Just get them into therapy. Yeah. Get them into therapy. Because that's a big one. Like, my parents, it wasn't their fault. Yeah. But I carried that. Yeah. So yeah.
That's a good one.
It is a good one. It's a big one. Yeah. And the self-worth is also a big one. But let's get back to this list. This is a doozy. The cycle of pain and pleasure. Are you stuck in that cycle? It is a drug.
It is a drug.
Pain, pleasure, and it's just...
Because also the more the pain hurts, the better the pleasure feels.
Yeah.
And we're not necessarily talking about sex. In my case, usually not.
It's the reconciliation.
It's the reconciliation. It's the words. It's the I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Like a one like little
hook.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You don't even have to do anything else. Like nothing. No flowers, no roses, no chocolates. One simple I'm sorry and I'm done. I'm done.
I'm like, it's coming.
Done. Like, it's just because you sit in the darkness for so long, like dreaming. We dream of that little light at the end of the tunnel, right? So we've already created like a false, he doesn't mean it, he's sorry at the end of the tunnel. So when we actually get it, that dopamine hit, woo, comes in full-fledged. And that high is so euphoric. So euphoric.
And you've also just got to look at, if this is a pattern that's been recurring your whole life, like, it was really tough for me to break that. It was in all my relationships, like that feeling of not being enough. And I think this is a big part of why I people pleased, why I stayed in painful situations. Also, I'm an addict, like, hello. But your body sticks with what is familiar. That's where the expression shit stinks but it's warm. It's the thing. It's we stay in painful situations. Haven't you?
Never.
Oh, it's the thing. Shit stinks but it's warm.
Ew.
You stay in shitty situations because they keep you in the warmth of familiarity. Your body knows it. That's why
face.
your body, so you're breaking the cycle. So in the beginning, you're fighting your mind and you're fighting your body because everything wants to go back to the
Fight or
same
flight.
cycle.
Fight or
Yeah.
flight. Yeah.
Go, Lucy.
We really do as humans, and we need to wrap it up soon because I think the battery's dying. I guess I could just plug it in. We do as humans, what is it my dad always say? What is it?
What?
We like what's familiar.
Yes.
We're creatures of habit. That's that big thing that I was forgetting. So anticlimactic. But we are creatures of habit. We are used to whatever we're used to. Like I've noticed it so much just from traveling, right? Like I got to Thailand and I was like, whoa, I don't like this, I don't like that, I'm not used to it. But then I acclimated and I changed after a month. I was used to different things. I was used to walking. My body adjusted to the heat. But when I just first got there, my body was like, whoa, we don't know this.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that it's bad. And you see people walking around in Thailand, this is such a good analogy, in hoodies and sweatpants in like 100-degree heat and humidity. But that is how we are, right? We are used to what we're used to.
Yeah.
So like, if that hoodie, is like abuse or whatever, if that's all you've ever known, we're back. So if that's all you've ever known, if that is what is familiar to you, first of all, you don't know any different. We don't know what we don't know, but it's comfortable for us. Like that heat was not comfortable for me because my body didn't know that heat. That's all they've ever known. A lot of them have never been to California or never been in different climates. That's what they're comfortable with. So in the same way, with abuse, even if it's like I didn't grow up in an abusive situation at all with my family. So, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. How I got into that in the first place is a little bizarre because I didn't come from it, right? But once it became familiar to me, once I acclimated, it was very difficult to leave because that was my new normal. And for many reasons, I was susceptible and an easy target for the first and second of these relationships that I got into. But, and the core of it being the love addiction that I had that I was unaware of happening. So that being said, yes, I mean, we have to be aware of like a frog in hot water. Just because you don't feel it happening, once you know these things and are aware of these things, you can be like, I know I'm not feeling myself being burnt right now, but I need to recognize the temperature is going up and I will die if I stay in this water.
Pretty much.
What's next?
So
On that happy note.
I want to go into like also, because the parenting thing is like quite a big thing. So
Yeah.
you may not have had, as I said, you may not have had like a really rough childhood, but you've just got to look at were there ever times because our attachment styles are formed. It's monkey see, monkey do. I see it with my own kids as well. Our attachment styles are formed based on our primary caregivers, whoever those people are. So if you had, a mom or dad who was always working, say, and they weren't really always emotionally available, then that is going to create an anxious attachment style in you. But what's also going to happen is whatever dynamic you end up playing out, like if you had to be the overachiever, I see this a lot in the rooms, like people who felt like because they weren't getting that attention unless, they were achieving. You're constantly trying to show someone, to top. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. You're trying to get if the only way that you're
Validation,
getting love and
that's
validation, is from overachieving. Then it makes you want to continue to do that.
But that will then create people pleasing because you are constantly trying to get validation, to get love. Really, like that's it. Like I am loved
Yeah.
when I do well. When I'm pleasing to people, I am loved. And then what's going to happen is you're going to start to create that in all your relationship dynamics.
Yeah.
So when you can understand this and come back to it, it's not about blaming. This is not why we go back and look at our childhood. It's not to blame, but to identify patterns, to identify our core beliefs about ourselves. Why is my self-worth low? Why do I feel like I need to be validated by others in order to gain my self-worth? Mm-hmm. It's going to come from something back in your past.
And it also depends on your personality, I think, because my sister and I came from the same exact parents. I am a complete and total people pleaser. Complete and total. From like day one. Like when my parents said no to something or I couldn't do something, I would argue with them. Or when they told me to do something, I would validate why I shouldn't have to do. Like I would argue because I didn't want to displease them. Whereas my sister, coming from the exact same situation, the exact same parenting, she would just say no. She just had zero desire to please. Like, just not a people pleaser. Like, to this day, unfazed. So I think it does have to do with personality, too. So that is an extra level of, like, you have to do the work and recognize that, like, certain things that your parents did may have affected a different child differently. But because of your personalities or your genetic makeup or whatever it is, it affected you the way that it did. But you have to be able to dig deep and journal and figure out how did these things affect me and how am I reacting now and how can I change those habits consciously.
Yeah.
Because it takes work.
It does, and it takes sitting in that discomfort. Like, it is possible, but awareness is the first step to change. So I always like to say, what discomfort are you choosing to sit in? Do you want to stay in the discomfort of the familiar, which is actually slowly poisoning you? Like, it's destructive discomfort. Or are you going to choose the discomfort that comes with growth? And at the end of that tunnel, the discomfort eventually eases because there is light. You form a new behavioral pattern. You form almost like a new identity. You change your habits. You rewire those neural pathways in your brain that said, I must seek out these toxic patterns and relationship cycles.
Yeah.
So discomfort of growth or discomfort of the same. We don't want to do that. I don't know why I'm doing this, but
boobs. No, but like it's another great like analogy for me that has helped is working out because what? It's fine. No, but like because you go to the gym and it's uncomfortable, extremely uncomfortable, but eventually you crave the good healthy discomfort because years ago
you see results and you see progress and you feel better
and you get addicted to the right things so you can change your actual desires. Like I desired to sit on a couch and not move before I started running, and now I literally desire cardio. Like I need it, I want it, I like it. And it's not fun at all. It's very uncomfortable. But I reprogrammed my brain to literally want, crave, desire something that is healthy for me. So if you can do that with the gym, you can sure as heck do it with romantic relationships, with friendships too. Super, super important. Yeah.
And please get the right support. So you need to either get to those LA or SLA meetings. You need a sponsor. If you don't have that, then you stick with the people whose opinions you don't like about the relationship you're in because you know that they're right. You have to have a good support structure because you're going to want to fall back into these patterns. Get the literature about it. Read David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. I know it has nothing to do with that,
I still need to read that.
That book changed my life. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that's good. I, on the other hand, did not go to Love Addicts. That's what it is called, right? LA?
Sex and Love Addicts or Love Addicts Anonymous.
I straight skipped out and moved to the other side of the country and hid out in my best friend, but healthy person, put myself around. I cannot say enough, and that's the point of like these meetings is the people in your life, right? And if you're surrounding yourself with accountability buddies and people that are going to hold you accountable and say the stuff you don't want to hear and help you reframe the way you look at relationships. Literally being around my best friend, I saw how our dynamic was, and I reframed my thinking and realized this is a healthy relationship. It is a friendship, but a love relationship, a romantic relationship can look like this. I respect her. She respects me. There's no yelling. There's no jealousy. There's no high highs and lows, which also can happen in friendships. So I just think that whatever you're going through, my biggest advice to anyone, if you can, a change of location is really, really prime, because you stay in those same areas with those same friends in those same circles. Like
You've got to get out of the circles, though.
Yeah,
I didn't move.
I
didn't move.
Yeah, so
I just found new friends.
You found new friends, and you had the LA, the group.
NA, I have NA.
Yeah.
NA just encompasses everything, but it's so important to be around like-minded individuals.
Yeah.
This is the thing. You cannot stay with the same people in the same places with the same things. People, places, things.
Yeah, you can't
That
do it.
keep you in your addictive mindset. Whatever that addiction is, whether it's people, whether it's drugs, whether it's alcohol, gambling, I don't know, whatever it is, PPP, you've got to change those.
Yeah.
And if you don't have other friends, there
Get
is
them.
a whole platform called YouTube. Find a mentor you look up to. Go watch
Yes.
David Goggins. Go watch Gabor Mate. Go watch Tony freaking Robbins.
Mm-hmm.
And watch those people, because you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So make them good people.
Yes.
And they can be YouTube people.
Yes, and honestly, cut the rest out. I don't know who needs to hear this. Cut them out, bro. They're going to be mad at you for what? One day, and then they're going to forget you exist because they don't actually care about you. If they are not good people lifting you up, making you want to be better, telling you, what's the word? Being happy about your successes, and lifting you up, challenging you, iron sharpens iron. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Literally get rid of them. You're going to have to deal with the confrontation. It sucks for like a whole whopping day. And then you're never going to have to deal with it again. And this sense of peace that just comes over you when you only have good people in your life. Then when you do go back into old habits, whether it's addiction or whether it's just not fulfilling your goals and not pushing yourself enough or whatever, when you have the right people around you, they will make sure you get right back on track. You get right back on track. When you have the opposite type of people with you, I'm telling you, if they are down, they are taking you with them like a Led Zeppelin. You cannot be around people that have habits or are partying or are just trying to stay busy and not deal with their own issues, because they hurt people. It will it's one bad apple. Try 5. You're ruined. You're destroyed. You will become the average of the 5 people you're around. So like she said, even if you can't find the right people right now, go on YouTube. Find people you want to be like, to listen to their words, listen to what they're saying. Put yourself in healthy situations where you will find people. Her and I both went into our isolation, and I literally moved to Seattle at one point too, was isolated myself again for the second time. The first time I went to Connecticut, second time I isolated myself in Seattle. I just like to go to different states, apparently. That's my own style of rehab. I don't know. But I isolated myself. I cut out everything bad from my life. I cut out alcohol. I cut out sugar. I cut out meat. I went vegan.
Men.
I cut out men. I cut it all out. No dating apps. I haven't been on dating apps. I have a couple times in the past 5 years. Immediately I know I can't handle it. It's not good for me. It's not everyone thing. But anyways, the point is, and then I joined this program because I wanted to better myself, and boom, I meet Kate. So the people are out there. The people are out there. Good people are out there. And if you put yourself in good situations, I also met 5 incredible women at church. Just went to a small group, and I was uncomfortable at first. I was like, they're gonna judge me. They're gonna be super type A girls that drink tea and coffee and have never partied in their life and look at me like I'm just a train wreck. Turns out that was the furthest thing from the truth. These are the coolest girls I've ever met in my life. So get uncomfortable, but put yourself in good situations, in healthy situations around people that are trying to improve their lives. Because there are so many of them, and you're wasting so much energy on the wrong people. And that could literally just change your life. Change your life. People, places, what was that?
Things.
Things. There you go.
PPT, not PPP.
People, places, things.
Yeah.
That's what we'll leave you with today. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching on that bombshell. Drop some questions. If you have topics for us,
Drop them down.
Drop 'em there,
Like,
hit that
subscribe,
like.
follow. Yeah, no, that drill.
bye.
Ciao.